during World War II, there was a colonel who flew over there, and this was a well-respected colonel, like very distinguished, who him and his 2 passengers in the plane both reported a 100-foot-long snake. They flew over it once. They're like, wait a minute, what is that? They were Dutch Belgium in the Congo. They flew over it once, went, what is that? And flew over it 2 more times to verify it, and got so low to the ground that they said the snake struck at the airplane, and all 3 people, the pilot, this well-respected colonel, and the 2 passengers, had the exact same story of this giant snake in Central Africa.
Interesting.
Yeah, and yet no big snake has ever been proven from there. But it's also a very poorly biologically explored area. And most of the time, when these animals get this big, snakes or otherwise, they're in very low... Yeah, here's the picture.
They took a photo of it?
They did. Yeah, they did. They're in very low densities, so...
What's your type?
I like probably volleyball chick.
A strong girl, athletic.
Maybe has a family member that can't speak English that good.
Oh, okay. Foreigners.
Foreigner or even mentally fucking
Happy
unwell.
to be here. Oh, mentally unwell. You like that?
I know if there's somebody their family is.
Okay.
Because they're loving people. Because you can't be.
Right. Because you're compassionate. Because you have this family member.
You know what's one of the most fucked up things that I've learned over time is that almost all like truly exceptional and mentally strong people have been through hell. It's very few that put themselves through hell when life is great. It's just not usually the case.
Dude, we had 2 Thanksgivings ago. We had 2 owls at my sister's house.
Yeah, I saw one last night, actually.
Did you?
Yeah, it was pretty... No, not last night. Night before last. It was pretty fucking cool. Pulled into the driveway and an owl took off. It was big, too.
It's gross, I think.
Owls?
The meat,
Oh, you ate them, you're saying?
Yeah, but the...
You guys ate owls?
Yeah.
I don't think that's legal. You probably shouldn't say that on the podcast.
Well, I didn't have a lot.
Bill Burr used to have a joke about it.
I didn't have a lot, man. I had no... I think I even spit it out.
Who do you think could do the most push-ups right now
Oh,
in a row?
Definitely me.
You want me to start?
Sure.
No.
Whatever you do, I'll do double.
Don't say that.
How many can you do in a row?
Easy 40.
He'll
You don't
double.
think I could do 80?
Prove it. Prove it.
I don't want to hurt myself.
Just don't go for 100. Just do it.
No. It better be. Wait, for real mine didn't look real?
No, it looked real.
Wow, dude. Fucking nice.
How many was that?
75.
75 push-ups.
Wow.
75. Pretty impressive.
Now, what about the people that say that they sleep, they go to bed, they sleep 5 hours, they wake up and they feel great? Is that bullshit?
We have the number of people who can survive on 6 hours of sleep or less without showing any impairment rounded to a whole number and expressed as a percent of the population is 0.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, 0. I support people doing things that are difficult because I think through doing things that are difficult, you learn about yourself. My right arm, I have a tattoo of Miyamoto Musashi because I read a quote when I was 16 years old, when I was doing martial arts. I read the Book of Five Rings, and this is... That's Miyamoto Musashi on my right arm. And he wrote this book, The Book of Five Rings, which was a book on strategy. And Miyamoto Musashi was a samurai who killed 62 men in one-on-one combat. And he wrote this quote, wrote this incredible book about it, but one of the things he wrote in the book was, once you understand the way broadly, you can see it in all things. And I think that all difficult things are development. They aid you in developing your human potential. And you find a way to get out of your own way by getting good at all kinds of things. You cut through the bullshit. Globally, you make $34,000 and you're top 1% of the world. That's how wild the world is.
Nobody wants to hear that.
No,
people who are like against the 1% want to realize that they're in the 1% of this country. They're like, what? I'm not. Like, yeah, you're super wealthy.
The 1% of this country is like, I think it's like $500,000 a year.
Wow.
No way.
It might be less. It might be like, what is the 1%? What's the top 1%? What do you have to make? Okay, it's $820.
Not nationally.
$3,000 in 2020. So I was off by quite a bit.
That's a lot.
What is it?
That's a
What is
lot.
it?
$823,000 in 2020. National average of the top 1% earners is $597,000.
Different people doing the research, I think.
I get occasionally called by somebody from inside. What I think they're doing, first of all, one, we may be faking a UFO situation for reasons that I don't understand.
If we are faking a UFO situation, do you think that there's technology that's available to people in the United States that is beyond our current understanding of what's possible?
90% no.
90% no.
Because
Wow.
it's very hard. It's very hard to imagine physicists continuing to work on nothing for their entire careers. The number of people who are going to be retiring shortly, having never actually done physics as a physicist. We're talking about wasted lives. People are going to be very weird when they realize that they blew their entire career.
You know it's fake because you know the actual recordings of Joe Biden talking, but how long before it's a video that's completely indiscernible? You're not going to be able to know if it's fake or real. You can have him doing things that he's never done before.
Fucking booty I've ever seen. God damn, that shit was huge. I could barely believe my eyes, man. I had to cool myself off with a chocolate chip ice cream cone from Ben & Jerry's. Shit was actually fire. No pun intended. My buddy Kevin from the Secret Service then brought me to the White House to sign some more shit. It was probably more money for Zelensky in Ukraine, but I didn't really give a fuck. Remember to keep it real and vote for me in 2024. Swipe it.
Yeah.
How wild is that?
Yeah, as has been commented, that I wish he was this competent. The most alarming thing is that that's a really cohesive sentence from Joe Biden. He's got a bit sexist, but his faculties are in order.
Just come to make sure your baby's okay.
Oh yeah, down ballistic. So, I don't know if you know this, a lot of Asians are born with a giant blue birthmark on their ass. They call it the Genghis Khan birthmark. Do you know this?
No.
They say it's all the way back from something Genghis Khan did.
Mystery
The
of the
Mongolian blue spot.
Wow.
So I was born with a blue ass, Joe. I had a blue fucking ass.
Dude, like Avatar?
Dude, straight, I have a picture of my, and this, some have a small one like this, and some of them have, I'm sure you could find bluer ones, but then after like less than a year, it just disappears. So it's called the Mongolian birthmark.
I have 2 guns.
That's all you have?
Yeah.
How come you have more?
I would consider getting one more.
You would? I could talk you into it.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
What kind would you like? A shotgun? Like a home defense gun?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and shotgun, you might not kill them too, huh? Do they make a gun that you definitely can't kill someone, but you can, you know...
You don't want that. You want something that could stop a person, because if a person's coming after you, you don't want something that stuns them and then they shoot you.
Yeah.
You know, if you're in that position where you're forced to use what they would call lethal force, you want it to actually work, you know? I've read every theory on how they built those pyramids. The Great Pyramid of Giza has 2,300,000 stones in it. Some of them are they weigh between 2 and 80 tons. Some of them are cut from a quarry that's hundreds of miles away. These things that pyramid is shaped perfectly. Like, if you've up like a 1/4 inch there, a 1/2 inch here, by the time you get to the top, that thing's a mess. But meanwhile, it's not. It's perfect. It's also perfectly aligned to true north, south, east, and west. And they're not really sure how old it is. They think they date it to 2,500 BC. But that's just because of organic particles that they pulled from inside stones. But they also say that they probably could have sealed those stones and resealed those stones over time. You're dealing with like a gigantic mystery of unfathomable proportion.
That's crazy.
Imagine you're walking on planet Earth and you pass by someone. You say, hey, can you point me in the direction of north? I want to walk in the northward direction. But when you get to the North Pole and talk to somebody there and say, hey, how do I go further north? They look at you and say, whoa, that question doesn't mean anything because this is where north begins. There's no notion of going further north than the North Pole. And it could be that spatial metaphor applies to time. Talk about 1 billion years ago or 10 billion years ago, but if you go to 13.8 billion years ago, the Big Bang, that may be where time started. And you can't go further back in time than the very origin of time itself.
That freaks me out. You know that volcano that just erupted? There was more CO2 released from that one volcano erupting than everything human beings have ever done.
Really? Where did you find that?
Fact-checked, volcanoes do not produce more CO2 emissions than human activity.
Reuters is on your ass, dude.
Yeah. He's so smart. It's like he's like hanging out with toddlers. You know, like when he was 17 years old, he made a particle collider in his garage.
I don't know what a particle collider is.
It's miles and miles of copper tubing, and it sends something through it, and he photographed antimatter in his garage with this device when he was 17.
Wow.
Like, that's a different kind of human. Like, this guy was making a particle collider in his basement or in his garage. It's crazy.
Here's something that's interesting. I really think within our lifetimes, if it hasn't happened already, governments are going to start using AI to do low-level legislation.
We've been talking about this a lot, actually.
Oh.
We're talking about a AI president. That you need a president that is immune to bias,
Yes.
corruption, influence, and someone who just looks at things rationally and in an intelligent way that spans all the disciplines. Like, how could any president really be an expert in foreign policy, the environment, economics, social justice, infrastructure, immigration? It's not possible. How could one person really know the correct solutions to all those issues?